Shamsher's little chit-chat.
La-da-da-dee-da-da, lather and throw a little shampoo. I'm so handsome, and now my mane is too.
Sang Shamsher the lion gustily as he finished shampooing his mane and flicked it back to admire it, even though it looked all flat and wet at the moment.
It's okay, mate. I know that once you're dry, you'll be all bushy, bouncy, and glorious once again,
said Shamsher, brushing it back lovingly. Just then, Shamsher's toad clock croaked loud.
Oh, is it 2 o'clock in the afternoon already? Then it's lunchtime,
said Shamsher, and headed into his kitchen to fix himself a meal. But all he found when he opened the larder doors were dozing spiders on cobwebs.
I can't believe it! I'm out of food!
Well, you would only have food if you actually went out and got some, you lazy lion,
said Corky, the naughty cockroach, and chuckled heartily.
Huh? I will teach you a lesson, you smart-mouthed cockroach!
Snarled an angry Shamsher as he tried to grab the smug cockroach. But Corky dashed out of his reach swiftly and called out,
Ha! I'm too quick for you, Shamsher. And you're so out of practice sitting all day at home and brushing your mane that I bet you can't even catch yourself a snail. Ha ha! Some lion who can't even hunt.
Shamsher roared so loud and angrily at Corky that the walls of his house trembled and the glass on his windows jittered. Corky gulped, cowering and deciding he had said enough, dashed off into the hole.
I can hunt, and I will prove it right now,
snapped Shamsher, and stormed out of his house, banging the door shut. It was all very well for Shamsher to rave and rant at being poked fun at, but the truth was that it had been quite a while since he had hunted. Thanks to his thoughts being always and only about winning the best groomed lion contest every season, he had spent more hours shining his coat rather than chasing prey. His legs ached and his lungs wheezed as he breathed, and all this when he had just walked. Imagine what would happen if he tried to chase an animal.
Well, no harm in trying,
mumbled Shamsher, refusing to give up. So he lay in wait behind some tall grass until Django the deer cantered in with a carefree smile.
Been quite a while since I had a nice big deer sandwich,
muttered Shamsher, crouching as he got ready to pounce. But barely had the grass rustled beneath Shamsher's flexing paws that the fit and lithe Django's ears perked. Django turned and, spotting Shamsher in the bushes, darted off at top speed, nimbly leaping to a safe distance. Shamsher, who had run only a couple of steps, was already panting hard, clutching his tummy. Hey, Shamsher! Called out Django. I think you should bring some skates next time you hunt. Maybe then you will move faster.
I will teach you to mock me, you insolent deer!
Roared Shamsher, furious. But there was nothing much more he could do, as Django trotted away smartly with a pitying smile. Sighing aloud and full of sympathy for himself, Shamsher got to his feet tiredly and wondered as to what next to do.
My feet seem swollen and my whole body aches. If I don't rest a while, then forget getting a meal. I won't be able to get home.
With these thoughts, Shamsher limped along looking for a resting place and soon came upon a small cave.
This cave seems quite cozy, but it also looks as if some animal has made it its home.
Shamsher peered closely and found paw prints of a smaller animal near the cave's entrance. He had a sudden brainwave.
Hey! What if I hide in the cave and wait for the animal who lives here to return? I won't even have to chase it, for I will simply block it from escaping and trap it within its own home. Ha ha!
Shamsher limped into the cave and slyly hid in the darkness within. Soon it was evening, and Felix the fox, who lived in that cave, returned, weary and tired, ready to retire for the day. Shamsher, who heard the approaching footsteps of the fox, tensed, ready to pounce. He was by now very hungry and couldn't wait to nab his prey. Felix smiled, relieved to reach his home, and was about to saunter in when his eyes fell on something strange and he froze in his tracks. There were the prints of a much bigger animal, like that of a lion or tiger, going into his cave, but none coming out. Felix gulped, all his fatigue now replaced by fear. Was there a dangerous predator inside his home? Would he be in danger if he went inside, or was he just being silly, worrying for no reason? Felix was confused for a while. Meanwhile, Shamsher waited anxiously. He even managed a quick peek out and saw the fox staring at the cave.
Why isn't the fox coming in?
Thought Shamsher, desperate to grab Felix. But Felix was a true fox, cunning, smart, and not one to take foolish chances. He decided that there was only one way to find out the truth. And so, clearing his throat, he called out in a cheerful voice.
Yoo-hoo, cave! Hello! How are you?
The cave, of course, was silent. Shamsher, surprised, looked at the cave, wondering.
The cave speaks?
Felix pouted and said,
Are you angry with me? Why don't you reply? You greet me every day so sweetly, and that's why I love staying in you.
The cave still made not a sound.
Come on, cave, say something.
But the cave stayed quiet.
Fine, you rude cave. I don't like you anymore. I'm going away now, never to return again.
Shamsher panicked. He had to do something. So clearing his throat, Shamsher said in his best cavey voice,
Hello, dear fox. I'm so sorry to upset you. Don't go away. I was asleep and so didn't hear you return. Come inside. I'm all ready for you.
Felix laughed loud as he recognized Shamsher's rough voice.
Haha, of course you're Shamsher. But sorry, I have no wish to be such a foolish lion's dinner. Only a lazy, foolish lion like you would believe that caves can talk. Ta-ta! You may stay in my cave and chat with it as long as you wish, for I will never come back again.
And with a quick wave, Felix the fox disappeared swiftly into the forest. Hungry and tired, Shamsher returned home, learning one valuable lesson. Caves don't chit-chat.